Hello everyone, welcome to Telugu One Academy. Friends, today we will be discussing the internal security topic that is nothing but linkages of organized crime with terrorism. Friends, you might all know from the topic of terrorism, we have learned that terrorism has no universal definition. But the basic term of terrorism, which you can understand from a dictionary, is nothing but making someone to get scared and making your work to be happen. Okay, you are scaring someone and you are making your work to be happen. Either it may be for the purpose of political purpose, either it may be for the purpose of hierarchy purpose, whatever it might be. Similar to terrorism, even the organized crime, which has many facets in its own, do not have a single definition. And you see what exactly is an organized crime? What are its characteristics? We will learn more and more about that. And before going that, let me tell you a basic example of organized crime. The word itself says organize and crime. So you are organizing the crime in an hierarchical manner, or you have a structure in doing crime that the highest person who is planning for that crime will never get caught, but only the person at the lower level. At the lower level, you see, this is the person at the hierarchy. Okay, if he is the person at the hierarchy, he will have two more persons. Okay, these two more people will have more people, okay, under them, and these people will have more. Imagine if a person from this level has been caught. Okay, this level has been caught. How long will it take to move from this person towards this person? It is very hard. So when you organize a structure and you make a crime, then it is called organized crime. For example, you are doing drug trafficking. Okay, some other person will be planning and the ground level implementation will be done by some other person. Even if it is human trafficking, even this happens, because an organized crime, the main purpose of these people is not to get caught and run the business. This is what the basic understanding of organized crime. Now you see how these organized crime and terrorism work in close. What causes or what are the effects of such a work in India and abroad, and what are the initiatives we have brought in. We will be learning everything very carefully. Let me start this class with a basic imagination or a scenario what I would like to share. Imagine there is a group of criminals who set a fire of a garment factory, killing around 259 or whatever the highest number of people they are killing. Okay, and leaving around 50 workers injured. When the investigation team arrived and they completed their investigation, they reveals that the factory was set on fire to threaten the owners and scare them for paying extortion money. So they are trying, this organized group people are trying to make the owners of these mills to come into the extortion or organized crime thing. Now you see, while extortion is generally a criminal conduct connected to the realm of organized crime, the intent of criminals was to intimidate and instill fear in the part of population, typically a tactic adopted by terrorist organizations. So you see, my friends, so here you can see both scenarios, that organized crime is linking itself with terror or terrorism so that it wants its work to be done. Even the similar case happens in some other example what I would like to share. When you see the example of Islamic State, okay, Islamic State, or sometimes in Afghanistan, or sometimes in other places where insurgency is happening, the most common thing what we hear is the human trafficking. When you see the Nobel Peace Prize winner Nadia, okay, she was one of the person who had been in human trafficking. She suffered even from sexual abuse because of this organized crime linked with the terrorism. Because, my friends, though ideology is the base of terrorism to survive, even that ideology to survive needs monetary or money to continue or make people to follow that ideology. So where does these terrorist groups get money from? By doing such an organized crime, they can't participate. So they get in contact with the organized crime people. They say, we have women captured, sell them. We have children captured, sell them. We have conquered mining area. We have diamonds, sell them. This happens in the case of diamonds, especially in the case of Nigerian gang. Even in Nigeria, you see in news frequently that Nigerian insurgent groups, they capture the children from schools and they demand the government to pay a lump sum amount to release these children. So in this way, both terrorism and organized crime today are not easily separable and easily observed in a separate forms. So, hope you understood my scenarios. Now let me show you what exactly is the definition of organized crime. As I told you, when it comes, you see, United Nations Organization for Drugs and Crime, UNODC, is a premier agency which has been dealing. It was established in the year 1997, my friends. Okay, it has been exclusively dealing with the topic of organized crime. Okay, organized crime in the terms of, you can also say drug trafficking, etc. So there was a convention in United Nations. The convention or United Nations Convention on Transboundary Organized Crime Convention, I can say, Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime. Okay, it did not clearly define, it did not wanted to give a study forward or a fixed definition of organized crime, and it gave a simple definition which can be molded at any period of time. Why? Why? Because, my friend, organized crime is very dynamic in nature. With the increase in the cyber space, with the evolution of dark web, hope you will know what is dark web, my friends. Okay, if you are not knowing, please study what exactly is dark web. So, evolution of dark web, evolution of cryptocurrency. Okay, today the organized crime even have moved into the digital space. So such an evolutionary nature, because organized crime is not new for the world. It has been existing since the human evolution has started, human transaction have started to avoid some sort of monetary losses or some sort of any sort of insurgent fight or something. Okay, so this was happening since long. But according to Interpol, the organized crime group can be defined as any group having a corporate structure and whose primary objective is to obtain money through illegal activities, often surviving on fear and corruption. As I told you, my friends, rather than the organized crime convention defines the actor involved in its commission. Okay, they do not define the pure form of organized crime, but they define who are the actors who follow this organized crime or participate in this organized crime. You see, structured group of 3 or more person, it says when a group, it is well structured, it has a format, okay, as I drew for you in the first slide. Group of 3 or more person existing for a period of time and acting in a concert with the aim of committing one or more serious crimes or offences established in accordance with this convention in order to obtain directly or indirectly a financial or other benefits. So what happened? Either they want to get financial benefits or sometimes they even want to get some other benefits also. Okay. Now you see, I have categorized the linkage between organized crime and terrorism into 3 forms. Okay, basically 3 forms. The first form is when they are separately operating. They do not have any contact between themselves. Okay, you see, the interaction between organized crime and terrorism can be divided into 3 forms. One is coexistence, where they are existing separately without any common point among themselves. Okay. See, it refers to a situation when both organized crime and terrorism operate at same theater but remain separate. They are not indulged into anything. For example, the Italian drug mafia, okay, or Spanish drug mafia, okay. So all that is organized crime. Okay, in Central America also you have drug mafia. Okay, rather than terrorism. But where terrorism operates rather than organized crime separately, you can call it in the case of Al Qaeda sometimes. Okay, the first era of Al Qaeda, where it was purely in the concept of terrorism rather than doing organized crime. Okay. Now next thing is cooperate, where both they cooperate with each other. That is, organized crime never tries to make terror, but they use terrorist groups to make that things happen. That is getting inputs or getting the diamond sort of thing or getting the drugs exclusively, my friends. When you observe the case of Afghanistan, where most of the world's opium is produced, almost 90% of the opium is forwarded from that zone of Afghanistan in the world. So that opium, my friends, even that terrorist group wants some people to handle this. So they sell it to an organized group. So that is what. See, they have a thin relationship. This part. While terrorists want to change the political status quo, organized crime groups want to change in the status quo only when it threatens them, but until or unless they will be standard. So, but when the benefit outweighs the risk, they cooperate, and these include specific operational support which can be acquired in cost-effective manner for each other. When either of them feel that our existence is going to be threatened by state or some other force, then they join their hands to protect themselves. Okay. For example, you see, terrorist organizations frequently take help of organized crime groups for creating fake passports. They even smuggling terrorists into the countries. Terrorist group or insurgent activities in northeastern state take the services from crime syndicates and active in Cox's Bazar for such activity, where Cox's Bazar is in Bangladesh, my friends. Okay. So next, the last one. You have a confluence, that is, you are hard to separate organized crime from terrorism. They are all included in one thing, a figure like this. Okay, try to resemble these figures in your answers also. So what exactly now you understand from organized crime? When organized crime group uses terror tactics to safeguard their business, for example, the Dawood company, D company or Dawood Ibrahim's company, which actively participated in the years of 1990s, okay, until or unless the Chota Rajan did not separate from Dawood Ibrahim. That is a long story. I don't want to go into cinematic factor of this topic. We'll stick ourselves to the academic part. Okay, 1990s. It was operating, and it was Dawood Gang which was making the businessman, large construction companies care, and they paid to these groups. Okay. Next is terrorist groups. When terrorist group uses organized crime to gather funds, example, Al Qaeda uses drug trafficking, and ISIS uses, today it is even using oil barrels selling, and it is even using women to have monetary benefits. So this confluence or this inseparable nature which got existed by confluence of both organized crime and terrorism is sometimes called the black hole syndrome. It's called black hole syndrome, where you can't separately see what exactly is organized crime here, what exactly is terrorism. Okay, the black hole syndrome is thus described as natural progress of these two criminal groups gaining economic and political control over the territory. What is that? They now concluded whole territory and they have complete power in their hands. Indian examples of black hole syndrome, especially you can see in the case of Northeast, especially the Naga groups, okay, Naga insurgents groups. Gun running are the fundamental basics of funding. Most of the insurgent groups in Northeast, they operate in kidnapping, gun running. They even do extortion. Okay, But what happened, exclusively I can say you a example, it was in the case of Manipur where PLA, okay, where PLA initially at its existence in the 1990s and 1980s, okay, what PLA did was they wanted to show that PLA is far better when compared to the provisions provided by Government of India and Constitution. So what they did was they attacked these people who were in organized crime. They stopped drug trafficking. They even helped people. They provided instant justice by killing the people who committed crimes in that areas of Manipur. Okay. So in such a way also they operated. This is an exclusive case when compared to all other what you say assimilated examples in the Northeast. Now let us see what are the different types of organized crimes. Because you see, when you understand the word organized crime, you should also be clearly explain different types of organized crime and link it with the other syllabus portion in our UPSC. For example, you see money laundering, what we have learned in previous classes is a separate topic within the internal security syllabus, but money laundering is also a type of organized crime. So my friends, you have to remember one important thing, that to write the best answer of internal security, you try to assimilate different topics into internal security. Rather it may be polity, rather it may be international relations and some other topic within the internal security. Okay. So now, first type of organized crime is a drug abuse or drug trafficking. Exclusively I am talking all these organized crimes with the base of India I am talking, okay. So when India is very close or proximity to the world's two largest opium producing regions, one is Golden Crescent and another is the Golden Triangle, okay. Around 90% of the world illicit opium comes from the Golden Crescent and rest most of the harmful drugs come from this region. So these two operate in an organized crime manner, where even the Northeast insurgent leaders have been helping those illicit drugs to enter into the India. Even in the case of Punjab drug trafficking, the Pakistan and Pakistan insurgent groups have been playing the proxy role so that drugs enter into the India. So this is what about the nature. First thing you need to know about organized crime, that is drugs and drug trafficking. Next is smuggling, smuggling of goods. Because of the vast coastline of India, we have around 7,500 kilometers of coastline. Okay, in India, and open borders with Nepal and Bhutan, there is a lot of chances that smuggled goods could be entered. And even though our enforcement departments, okay, like custom departments or border security force people, whoever capture these smuggling goods, most of the times, my friend, so still there is a lot of things. The captured amount is still a tip of the iceberg and lot of amount has already been coming into the country. Especially the Chinese counterfeit goods have been causing damage to Indian economy in a larger manner. So this is what happening. It is possible to have some idea of extent of smuggling from the value of contraband field seized, even though they may constitute a very small proportion of the actual smuggling. So the next thing, money laundering and hawala. We have discussed this money laundering and hawala elaborately in our topic, but let me also say whoever have not watched for them. So what money laundering is, the word itself says money and laundering. You are cleaning the money. You are cleaning the money. Which money you are cleaning? The money which has been obtained from illicit activities has been turned to be looked like they have been obtained from legitimate source. This is done to avoid tax, okay. This is done to organized crime and all these things, okay. Now you see, besides tax evasion and violation of exchange regulations, play an important in meagering this ill-gotten money with tax evading income so as to obstruct its origin. Okay, for example, you got your money from some sort of illegal extortion, and now you want to convert. So what will you do? You will go to some gambling area, you will put that money into them, and you say, take some money from this and give me coins, and say that I have won a lot of money from this gambling arena. Okay, the aim is generally achieved via intricate steps of placement, layering and integration, so that money is so integrated in legitimate economy can be freely used by offenders without any fear of detection. Money laundering poses a serious threat worldwide, not only to the criminal justice system but also to their sovereignty. Next, terrorism and narco-terrorism. So terrorism is not considered as a what you can say organized crime most of the time. But when you see the Indian experience, when we Indians have been experiencing the terrorism, shows that the criminals are perpetrating all kinds of crimes such as killing, rapes, kidnapping, gun running and drug trafficking under the umbrella of terrorist organization. This is a basic example of linkage between organized crime and terrorism. Next, contract killing. Okay, most of the times, my friend, contract killing is largely used in India, though it is a punishable offence under section 302 of Indian Penal Code, and it might also lead to life imprisonment and death. The conviction rate in this contract killing, my friends, is just 38%, because it is hard to detect who is the leader who is running to do this contract killing. Only the immediate person will be get caught. The chance of detection in contract killing is quite low. The method adopted in contract killing is by engaging a professional gang for a monetary consideration. Next is kidnapping for ransom is a type of organized crime. They kidnap children, they kidnap people and they ask for a lot of money. Okay, kidnapping is exclusively and especially when you see it is mostly concentrated in urban conglomerates. Okay. Mostly what they do is, even if they kidnap also, sometimes they might use the children for prostitution, sometimes for what you said, they might also use them for trafficking of organs, okay, organ trafficking. So next is illegal immigration. Most of the people who want to immigrate to some other country, it happens not just in India, it happens in Europe also, where West Asia people want to get into Europe so that they can enjoy the happy life or culture of Europe. Okay. So what happens, most of these organized people, they make fake documents, fake passports and try to make these people get into those happy areas. Okay. As it is not easy for the aspirants to obtain a valid travel documents and jobs abroad, they fall into the trap of unscrupulous travel agents and employee agency. In case of India, most of the people go to Arab and they get trapped in that area, because most of the times what happens in Arab, the people who will be taking you will grab your documents, grab away your documents, and they will not give your documents unless or until they have earned enough money on your suffering. Next is prostitution. This is very bad issue, but we shouldn't discuss, my friend. When you consider the statistics of prostitution, around 10 lakh prostitutes are available in Mumbai, and the similar number you can even find in Bengal or Bangladesh region. Okay, apart from that, even large number of prostitutes are also present. What they do is they kidnap children, especially, and they train them sometimes. And not to get caught, what happens in this prostitution racket, my friends, not to get caught or not to know where the girl has been originated, they rotate the girl child, they rotate the girl or the woman who they have trafficked from one place to another place in India, so that her true origin is hidden, and it makes them hard to find the big pin who has been operating all the prostitution in here. Flesh trade is also called flesh trade, trading in sex, girl running, etc. The underworld is closely connected with the brothels and the girl rackets, making plenty of money through its activity. Okay, they shuttle them, minimize the risk of being rescued. According to the study conducted by Indian Health Organization, there are around 10 lakh prostitutes in Bombay and equal numbers in Kolkata. Delhi and Pune have estimated 40,000 each of prostitution or brothel houses in whole. Next is environmental crime, my friends. Especially this environmental crime, if you want to know the institutions also. Sometimes when they ask organized crime in environmental, then you have to write the institutions also. Wildlife Crime Control Bureau is the institution, my friend. Along with Wildlife Crime Control Bureau, the Customs Department of India, okay, Customs, and sometimes it is even the Coast Guard. Okay, they work in close to stop the trade or travel of animals illegally from out of the boundaries of the natural region or from any country, whatever you want to say. So in environmental crime, you know that exclusively when you have seen in the news, it is pangolin, what have been most of the time even lizard species or exotic species which are being used especially in China as medicinal purposes. Okay, they have been tortured, they have been packed. So all this happens in the case of environmental crime. Even not just animals, my friend, even timber is also a basic organized crime. Especially when you see the recent movie Pushpa, which has been in news. Okay, there what happens in that movie, they operate a syndicate of red sander, which has a huge demand in foreign countries like Japan and China, where they use it for making exotic goods. Okay, timber poaching is also a multi-billion-dollar revenue and an organized crime group. This causes depletion of forest, and even there is also higher chances that those species get into extinction. And it is also said because of this trade, almost 50% of the endangered species are under extinction just because of this organized crime in environmental goods. Next type of organized crime is organ trafficking. As we all know, there is a huge demand of organ and there is also a long waiting list for these organs. So to fulfill this demand, there has been also an organized crime trafficking for organs. Okay, hopefully you know that. Now when you have seen such a number of organized crimes, I hope you have understood what exactly could be the nature, what was their structure, how do they operate. Some sort of idea you could have got. Okay, some higher person, some structuring, some layering, some protection, something. So now we will understand the character of these organized crimes. So when I said all types of organized crime, around 10 to 12 organized crime I have explained you. From all that, I can place them with some characteristics. Those characteristics include continuity. That even one person is get caught, even some 10 people get caught, the organized crime never ends. It continues and continues for a long time. You see, the criminal group operates beyond the lifetime of individual members and it's structured to survive changes in leadership. Okay, if 10 members get caught, let them caught. We will continue our work. So that's why we all the time see that custom people always catch some gold which has been smuggled into India. Sometimes they caught some different ways they get caught. Next is structure. The criminal group is structured as a collection of hierarchically arranged interdependent offices devoted to accomplishment of particular function. It may be highly structured or may be rather fluid. It is, however, distinguishable as the ranks are based on the power and authority. They have the definite power, they have an authority structure which is placed. Next is membership. The membership in the core criminal group is restricted and based on common transit such as ethnicity, criminal background and common interest. They do not easily believe on some person. After a long scrutinization only, they try to move some lower people into hierarchy when they have similar interest or talent or they belong to same caste, same religion, ethnicity, all these matters. The rules of membership include they have to maintain secrecy, a willingness to commit any act for the group and intent to protect the group. They have to go such a far, they might even have to kill themselves so that the group is protected. And its existence is not in serious threat. In return for loyalty, the members of criminal group receive economic benefits, certain prestige and protection from law enforcement agencies. Next is the criminality. The criminal group relies on continuing criminal activity to generate income. Thus, continuing criminal conspiracy is inherent in organization. So, activities such as supplying illegal goods and services. See, they want the criminality to continue. For example, if a person is doing armed trafficking, okay, armed weapons trafficking, he wants a war to continue, because for this person to exist and for this person to earn money, it is only possible unless or until this armed transaction is going on. Next, violence. Violence and threat of violence are the integral part of these criminal activities. They threat their own people, they even threat the person who they want to extort money. The violence of threat it is used against the members of the group to keep them in line, as also against the outsiders to protect the economic interest of the group. The members are expected to commit, condone or authorized violence acts. They might even attack the police people to terrorize the people, saying that if you are going to come on our side, we are going to come on your side to attack you. Next is power and profit goal. The members of criminal group aim at maximizing the group's profit. By maximizing the group profit itself, you will get to recognize and you will get the hierarchy in the group or structure, so that you gain your power within the group. The political power is achieved through the corruption of public officials, including legislators and political executive. The criminal group maintains power through its association with perpetrators who defend the group and its profit. So you see, this is one of the important points I need to discuss, because you see, my friends, to organized crime to continue, to persist, they need the support of the whole government structure, rather it may be politicians or governance by the police or the administrative servants. They all need to cooperate to that organized crime to sustain. So what happened? They want proxy benefits, that is, the politician want lot of money so that he can use in elections, and corrupt official want lot of money so that he can lead a happy and royal life, okay, easy money. So all these things are happening. Next, so what you can say in a simple way, there is a strong relationship between politician and organized crime to survive. Okay, next thing is similarities between organized crime and terrorism, because the chapter itself says linkages between organized crime and terrorism. Happily, I have given you examples, I have given you most things, but now what is the similarity? So let's see the similarities. Both use extreme violence as a threat for reprisals. The violent activities include use of kidnapping, assassination and extortion. Okay, both operate secretly, though at times publicly, in friendly territory. Okay, most of the time they operate secretly, but in public friendly territories, like in the case of Papua New Guinea or the Southeast Asian region where the organized crime is in high, they will operate in the friendly area. Both defy the state and rule of law. They present a great security threat to the nations. They both do not care about the laws, they just want their own monetary benefits. Both are highly adaptive and innovative and resilient. Okay, this is very important point. Even the governments will struggle to be such a innovative, resilient and adaptive. Whatever the new technology comes, when the cryptocurrency came, immediately the Hawala has went into online, they just took the cryptocurrency, traveled another country, sold that cryptocurrency, gained the money. Okay, this is very easily happening now. So they are very adaptable, innovative and resilient. Next, they both have the provided social service through, though this much more frequently seen with the terrorist groups. They support the local people. They try to improve their social status, so that in the time of emergencies, these people support the organization. So let's see the difference between the terrorist and organized crime. Okay, they use violent means terrorist. Basically, these groups are generally remain non-violent, but in the case of kidnapping, when you consider them as violent, you can also see them violent, but unless or until their structure is not under threat, they will never attack. See, the terrorists always want to overthrow the whole government structure and system. So, but in the case of organized crime, they do not want to overthrow the government. They look after the political power or political objectives. They do not have any political objective, but their major objective is to gain economic benefits, my friends. They try to seek media attention. They do not want to get media attention because they want to operate secretly. They claim responsibility for terror attacks. These organizations never claim the responsibility, because if they claim responsibility, it's their own threat. They attack the government and law enforcement agencies. They generally don't indulge in attacking, but they, unless and until it's threat for them, they generally do their job silently and go up. They want to influence the public opinion. They never try to influence the public opinion. They are not concerned with that. They just want efficient people to come into play. Now, my friends, here we come to an end of this first class on linkages between organized crime and terrorism. And in the next class, we will learn more about linkages between organized crime and terrorism. Part 2, in that we will learn about legal provisions which are present in India and different initiatives taken at the international level to reduce this organized crime. So, before completing this class, hope you have understood the characteristics, types of organized crime, how the organized crime and terrorism has linkages, what are the differences between them, okay, assimilation characteristics and black hole, whatever I have told, black hole synthesis, I have explained you here. So now, what do you think are the effects of organized crime when you consider it at you can say state, okay, national, international? What need to consider in such a way when you are looking at effects of organized crime? The first thing, any organized crime need to start from a region. It might be a confluence of two states or a bordering region where states cannot operate in tandem, okay, that region. And it can operate transboundary, that is international level, and across the national borders. Okay, with these effects you can see the first effect will be, basically I am rounding off all these effects, okay. First, economic loss you will get, okay. Second, you will get rise in insurgency, okay. Third, lot of youth will be moving towards this organized crime. So what happened? Depletion of human resource, okay. Apart from economic loss and insurgency, this insurgency I can write as security threat, okay. Not just by depletion of human resources, not just mean that youth moving into these insurgent groups or organized crimes, even by taking the drugs or armed peddling, this might happen. And economic loss also you can see, not just by taxation avoidance, not just by tax avoidance, you can also see lack of investment coming into the area, lack of investment. So all this, okay. Organized crime is not restricted to one region, my friends. It has been going across the lines of borders which are driven by nation or states. It has an international phenomena because one crime is planned at somewhere in some other country. For example, bombing in India could have been planned in either in Afghanistan or in Pakistan by a different group, and it is being implemented by some other person who could have been a proxy and whose ideology has been changed by these terrorist groups. Okay, so this has transboundary ramifications. So my friends, organized crime is very, very dangerous for the survival of the nation and also affects the sovereignty of the nation. So we have to end this organized crime from these roots, and how to end this organized crime we'll learn in our next class. So before ending, I would like to show you this map of world where different regions, how the organized crime works. You can see in Indian Ocean region where across the Indian Ocean region, here you can see lot of piracy operations which are done by the African people for organized crime. Here you can see the heroin from Afghanistan, how it travels towards the UK. From Russia it travels towards the UK. And how transboundary, here you see cocaine is majorly produced in the South American region, in the Brazilian forests and all those areas. They get traveled into United Nations here. Caribbean is a transit point. Most of the dacoits happen there. Even Spain is one of the famous destination. All the cocaine or illicit drugs coming from Spain come from the West African region, you can see. So this map shows you a better idea how big is organized crime. So you can see how where all these organized crime is concentrated and evolving from. As I told you, you can see here, this is the golden triangle, hub of drugs. This is golden crescent. Here, from here you see how long they are traveling. Okay. From here you see it traveled here. It has been traveling all the way around. Wildlife trafficking exclusively from this Indonesian region. Lot of wildlife has been exported. Piracy, gold trafficking, migrant smuggling. See, when there is a lot of insurgency in Africa, people want to go into Europe. All they go into Europe. From West Asia also. Female trafficking. Females have been trafficked from Brazil into European nations because they have a lot of issues facing there. So friends, I hope you have understood all my class. I would like to end my class here. So thank you for watching my video. This is Nikhil from Telugu One Academy. Thank you.